everybody. This is Ashley from TikTok's 130 Books in 130 Days, and you're listening to the If It Was a Book podcast, the show that takes real-life stories and rewrites them into what would happen if it was a book. For people who love reading, writing, pop culture, and general ADHD chaos. Today I am joined by Liv of Curly Hair Biblio, who is an avid reader, TikToker, bookstagrammer, and a publicist at Scholastic. We're getting new bookish guests. Very exciting. Liv, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for filling out my guest request form, or my guest interest form.
Yeah, I mean, you interviewed Sarah from Readin magazine, and I am an editor with Readin magazine, and you interviewed Bill Wood, who I'm his publicist, so I was like, I kind of want to join in on the party for this. So here I am.
Well, how did you get into the book publishing game?
So I feel like it's important for me to sort of backtrack because how I became an online book person, how I became a publicist are really entwined. I first became a book blogger in 2016, I believe. It was a New Year's resolution for me to make a book blog because it's honestly a lot of like people who were on WordPress, like posting to 5 views. Like I love the instant gratification that I get from, posting on TikTok and I get 200 views. But something about my teenage brain being like 5 people viewed my book tag on my WordPress blog, that formed my identity. So I started out as Curly Hair Bibliophile, full government name of my online persona. And then I did it just to talk about books and just to talk about what YA books I really liked and all of that. And then I started to interact with publicists and publicity departments for ARCs, blog tours. And I said, someone's job is to talk about books all day. That's sick. How can I do that? So
I want that to be my job.
That's pretty much exactly what I did. And then after everything that I've done since then has sort of been in pursuit of that. I did my undergrad degree at Emerson College, which is one of the only schools that has an undergrad publishing program. And I did 4 internships while I was in school. I worked part-time at another publisher. And then about 2 weeks after graduation, I accepted a job at a smaller publisher called Page Street Publishing. Page Street YA has sort of made their name. They're the team at Page Street. The marketing team holds my heart. And I left Page Street this previous March to join Scholastic because Kidlit has always been where my heart lies. That's where I first got my start, and there's something just really special and wonderful about Kidlit. So when I had the chance to work at Scholastic, I was like, absolutely. And then I made the move to New York for the job, and that's kind of the TLDR of how I got here and how a WordPress blog made me end up in New York.
I love that. And I think the question that everyone who knows that you're a publicist at Scholastic will ask is, do you get to go to the Scholastic Book Fair?
So, funny story, I walk by a cardboard cutout of Freddy Fazbear that is a Scholastic Book Fair branded item, and it makes me laugh every single time I walk to the bathroom. We do not have book fairs in the building. However, I will say that the office is incredible. There's Clifford murals that are fuzzy on each floor. It's so over the top and so wonderful. So, no, I don't. However, it does make my heart so happy every single time a distant relative will text me and be like, my kid got their Scholastic Book Fair flyer. And I have nothing to do with that. But I'm like, I love that. I love kid lit and all of that. So.
I think it's also Scholastic Book Fair time. At least I'm seeing TikToks of school librarians doing their Scholastic Book Fair. And I'm like,
yes,
Scholastic Book Fair.
I know. It's really nice. Every single time I talk to somebody and tell them I work for Scholastic, they're like, I remember the book fairs. I'm like, yeah, you do.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, no. I'm glad it was as formative as an experience for everyone that it was, for me. And I think that's why I really like Kidlit, is because there is sort of an importance for starting the love of reading young and meeting young readers where they are, whether it's a graphic novel or an adaptation of Five Nights at Freddy's for kids. It's just
they love it.
They really do.
They love Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm terrified.
Honestly, I played the video game, and it was scary. I played the first one. I haven't gotten into the lore. and I probably never will. I'm not that much of a gamer, but it's
I have library
scary.
teens who are deep in the lore.
Oh, I'm sure.
They know so much, and I'm like, I'm horrified. Not at you knowing these things, just at looking at the Five Nights at Freddy's videos that you're showing me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, we've recently in our licensing department started publishing Skibbity toilet books.
Oh my god! No!
Yeah, so that's been
I'm
an
hanging up right
adventure.
now.
And it's been really funny to have my, like, he's not a boomer, but he's definitely Gen X boss explaining Skibbity toilet to me. And I'm like, I'm a Gen Z. Like, I'm the closest proximity to this. And my older boss is telling me this. It's really funny. Great things are happening. The kids are all right. The kids are all right.
I'm just imagining very professional emails coming from publicists being like, would you like to read and review Skibbity Toilet?
I have had, like, when Peppa Pig, like, became an older sister and had a new sibling, that was breaking news in the licensing department at Scholastic. And I'm not even kidding. That was... because I work on some Peppa Pig books too, so that was really big breaking news for a hot second. Yeah.
Okay, so I have more publishing questions, but I also have a book that we're gonna write. So what would you like to do first? Do you want to talk more about publishing and being a publicist, or would you like to tell me a story that we're gonna rewrite?
Maybe we do the point of the podcast and we do the story stuff first, and then we finish up with the publishing
I think
stuff.
so as well. So you have a story you'd like to share with us?
Yes. So I spent all day trying to figure out what story to tell because I was like, nothing has ever happened to me ever. So my story, it's more of, I guess, a premise. As I mentioned earlier, I went to Emerson College for school. For listeners who don't know, Emerson is a really small liberal arts school in Boston. And it's like, there's not a huge sports scene or anything like that. It's primarily like, I went to so many a cappella concerts. And like, that's the vibe that we're giving here. Like, I really need to set that stage. So one of the funniest things, though, that I think I did at Emerson, which started out as a bit, and then I really fell in love with it, I pledged a sorority.
Okay.
And Emerson's sorority, they're all very tiny sororities. We're not talking like Alabama rushed situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like really small. The sorority that I particularly pledged was a professional sorority that only exists at Emerson College. They were founded in, I'm going to say 1906, and let them behead me when I'm wrong.
Okay.
But we're talking real early on in the 1900s. So very, very old. And one of my favorite things is that a lot of the experiences that I had were so specific to this particular sorority. And one of the things is that every time we had initiation, every time we took a new class of PNMs, potential new members, we would have our initiation on Cape Cod. We would all of us, there are probably like 20 of us, we would rent a bunch of zip cars in big minivans. I drove a minivan through Boston. The first time I've ever driven a minivan in my life was for this. And through Boston. I did get stuck in a roundabout for 45 minutes. We would basically load up these freshmen into a car and not tell them where they're going. And we would drive them down to the Cape, and we would have our little initiation. We would get there at like 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m., do our thing. This was a detail I am allowed to say, that we would play Gregorian chants.
Okay.
Again, this was a detail I was allowed. I sent an audio message and I was like, so what can I share? And my friend was like, you can share the Gregorian chants thing. So we'd play Gregorian chants and use fake candles because we couldn't use real candles for fire safety.
Sure.
And then we would be there less than 12 hours, and we would wake up the next morning hungover, and then get back in our zip cars and drive back to Boston and be like, bye guys. And that was it. So I joined the sorority when I was a junior in college because I was a freshman when COVID hit. So freshman year, wash. Sophomore year, I was lonely. I didn't really have a lot of friends. Freshman year was tough for me. So junior year, I was like, I'm gonna like put myself out there and I'm going to join this sorority. So that's less of a story and just more of a premise, because after I had this idea and I started marinating on it, I was like, I think a thriller a la Bunny, cultish, like a sorority that is secretly a cult that's like disguised at a liberal arts college because they're unchecked, they're the only sorority, I thought would be so fun. And that's my premise. And also that's my little paddle that I have in the back. So I did not actually put that back there on purpose. But this is proof that I wasn't a sorority.
I think that we could definitely go thriller, especially since there's chanting involved and fake candles. We could definitely do some sort of sacrifice. I feel like when you were describing going to Cape Cod, I did vaguely understand that it was a beach town, and I was like, oh, it'll be like in the summer I turn pretty. And then we went scary, and then I was like, okay, so we're gonna go scary.
No, so I'm more of a lit fic and horror person. So when I was thinking of premises, and I was like, it would not be true to myself to throw a romance plot out there. I'm like, we need to go scary. We need to go cultish. We need to go liberal arts crazy, which is possible.
Have you read The Gracier?
I have not.
Okay, it's a YA horror, which I think has some elements that might be interesting here. So the overarching plot of The Gracier is that when girls turn, I think 16 or 17, can't remember, they all go to the woods for a year because their little girly hormones make them crazy, and so the village sends them to the woods.
Right.
And they kind of just like do their own society in the woods.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like unreliable narrator stuff of like, is this happening, or have they convinced themselves that something is happening because they are starving, dehydrated, in the woods, and like have only the same 4 people to talk to the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I think could be interesting as like a sorority thing, especially like if we're going cult. Are we going like paranormal cult or just like religious cult? What kind of cult are we in? Are we doomsday?
So
what kind of cult? Tell me about the cult.
Let's talk cult.
Let's talk cult.
One of the books that I was thinking of, there is so I'm thinking less like super creepy, and I'm thinking a little more campy.
Okay.
Because I love a campy horror. There was a mystery book that I read. It's called Death in the Downline. And it's basically where this woman joins an MLM and she goes to the sort of MLM conference, and like someone in her downline dies mysteriously, gets murdered, but everyone's like covering it up, and she's like, something's weird. And that's kind of what I was feeling a little bit, because I do love a campy horror. Like, I'm thinking funny, but also like a little bit campy, a little bit fun. I'm thinking like a little bit of a more fun narrator, like someone who probably was similar to me, where, you know, didn't have a lot of friends, was really desperate to try to connect and have a community at the small liberal arts college. We can call it Emerson. We can call it like a generic liberal arts name. I love when books do that, and I'm like, you are very clearly describing Brown University, but okay. So that I'm thinking a little bit of that.
Okay.
I think.
I agree. I like it. So you had said in the beginning that you had started this pledge process kind of as a joke, and then was like, actually, I really enjoyed this. I think this is good. So I think that should happen here as well, but in the like starting it as a joke, gets wrapped up in the cult, joins the cult, understanding that it's a cult, but being like, friends.
Yes. Like maybe the narrator sees maybe like a flyer or something. One thing that was very funny about my sorority that every single person who is in my sorority will tell you is that their like pitch is that, well, I never thought I would join a sorority. So I feel like the sorority in this book needs to, for the record, my sorority is not cultish. I don't want the people in the Facebook to come after me. Everyone is very nice and very normal, and a lot of my dearest friends were in my sorority. But for the sake of this, I think very desperate to like try to get people who are not sorority people. We're not talking like everyone's sort of like blonde hair Alabama Rush
Mhm.
kind of vibe. Like, this is a sorority that's, like, trying to, like, get people who would not normally fall for that.
Like in Sydney White, is it Amanda Bynes? I think it's Amanda Bynes. It might be Lindsay Lohan. Sydney White is a movie that's like supposed to be Snow White, but she goes to college and wants to rush her mom's sorority, but she
Never heard
grew.
of this.
I'm pretty sure it's Amanda Bynes. She wants to rush her mom's sorority, so she like works really hard to go to that college, and her roommate is also going to rush that sorority, and she goes, and they're being very like, they don't like her because she eats and things that it's like very stereotypical.
Is this
and they're
like,
like
I'm
weighing their
assuming this is
food,
the
and
2000s.
it is absolutely the 2000s.
Yeah.
The height of Amanda Bynes. She is like not worrying about her hair or her clothes and all the things, and so they like don't want her. So then
Not like other girls.
but she'd
Not
already
like other
given up.
girls. Yeah.
Right.
Is
But
where
she'd
we're
already
going.
given up her dorm to rush the sorority. So now she doesn't have anywhere to live. And so she joins this, I think technically it's a fraternity because she's the only girl. But she joins this fraternity of 7 just misfit guys. One of them is like a super, super, super senior who just like does not want to leave school and
Yeah.
keeps getting scholarships. And so he's still there even though he's like 40. And then one of them is that guy from Gilmore Girls who dates Paris. There's just like a bunch of characters. And then basically she brings them out of their shell, and then they bring Greek Row out of their box so that then they're like all friends.
Yeah. Got it.
But that's the like misfit house.
I have not watched it, but I think I need to now. I think
you need to as well. It's like peak early 2000s comedy.
Love it.
I think it's great for like just it's so strange. And I will say one thing that I think is a kind of a disservice to the whole movie is that she ends up with a guy from a different frat. Like she doesn't end up with one of the misfits because they're supposed to be the 7 dwarfs of like because it's Snow White.
I forgot it was Snow White. I forgot
It's
this was
Snow
all
White.
a Snow White retelling.
It's all Snow White. So the prince is like some guy in a fraternity who's someone else.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I need to watch. I need to watch that.
I think you do. But
Yeah.
so it's a misfit house. So that's what we want, a sorority of misfits. Do they have
Yeah.
Do we want this sorority to have like a sorority house or just be like a sorority in social events?
So here's what's interesting. We didn't have a sorority house. I'm open either way. Something that might be interesting is like if we want to make it like it's like an inner circle, and like what if the inner circle lives together? It's not like a sorority house, but if there's
It's like a sorority apartment.
Yeah, if there's 6 of the E-board and like a few other people who live together who know the truth about everything, and everyone else is kept a little bit more in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to have you keep us campy because that's not typically where I am. So I'm going scary and you have to draw us back into like fun and campy. So
Yeah.
I think that the sorority, the cult of it all, should be cannibalism. And if that's too
Ooh.
scary, we don't have to do that. But I was
Honestly,
thinking,
I'm down for campy cannibalism.
okay,
I can
campy
do it.
cannibalism.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say maybe once every few years, someone at school disappears. And it's not necessarily someone in the sorority, but it is someone who rushed the sorority or is in the sorority.
Are we thinking someone who maybe like dropped out of the process? Maybe?
Right. So like, how
Okay.
dare you? And now we're gonna
Yeah.
beat you.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So I think that setting the stage in our current
Okay.
times with our main character, do they have a name?
I have not thought of a name.
Okay.
I could grab a book next to me and just see what
pull a book.
appears. Let's
see what name
grab.
there is.
Let me grab. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to grab like a good one. Here we go. Puck and Prejudice. Here we go.
So it's Jane,
Let's-
because Jane Austen.
We could. This one, Lizzie.
Lizzie.
We could
Okay.
do Lizzie. I feel like Lizzie, no offense to any Lizzies out there, Lizzie does give me a little bit, not like other girls, not an Elizabeth, not
Right.
a Lizzie. Or a
Okay,
Libby.
so-
We could go with Libby too.
Libby's fine.
Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself, but
No, you're not. That's where we are. We're on picking a name. You're exactly on track.
touche. I'm just always anticipating that I'm going too fast. Let's do Libby. I feel like Libby's not like other girls. She's never
Okay.
believed in sororities. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to
above them.
say our opening scene, as more of a movie than a book, but, you know, our opening scene is going to be a dinner that all of the current members of the sorority are having. It can be at the house. It can be somewhere else. They are eating people. We don't know that yet, but that's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the inner circle is serving the meal to be
Yes.
like, hey guys, getting ready for rush. Like, thanks for all you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
The spaghetti meat sauce is people sauce. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We have some like kind of close-ups of eating and we're like, that's weird. And then you move
Yeah.
on. And then we're
Yeah.
on the moment
Maybe
of...
this is getting more movie. There's like a shoe sticking out of the trash can. Like there's something like that. Like something really weird where it's like, you know, like, oh, this dinner looks really good, but like there's a shoe sticking out of the trash can and someone maybe like finds a hair. Something like that.
Finding the hair is good.
Yeah.
I think that I like that. The shoe is also fine. I was just like, ooh, the hair is good. Because you can play that off. We've had this person's like chopped up in the fridge. We eat them or freezer throughout the year. So it is possible that this is our first one, because I do think that the person they're eating right now is someone who was leaving the sorority and that had bad blood. So they're out.
Yes. Yes.
But that was
Because-
also like an excuse with the group, because they were like,
Yeah.
hey, Jessica is leaving. And then
Yeah.
I never hear from Jessica anymore.
Maybe Jessica was studying abroad, like was going to leave to study abroad
Okay.
or something. So that explains why she disappeared, is that she got, you know, a study abroad opportunity. And then what if it's September, they're about to start like their recruitment process and they're, you know, having everyone over for a dinner. So Jessica's like recently chopped up. Jessica, her flight has taken off, but she is not there. Her layover, not there. So that's where I'm thinking the shoe. Or it could be we're dropped right in the middle and Jessica's been dead a long time.
I like what you're saying. I like that it's a recent death. I think maybe even there's a comment of like, oh, aren't those Jessica's shoes? And then they're like, oh yeah, I'll mail them to her or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love
just something
that.
of like, and it doesn't have to be a shoe. It can be a bracelet. Just something that is Jessica's and distinctly Jessica's, that they're like, she's not here. Why is her stuff here? And oh, she left it here. I'll mail it to her.
It could also be, what if the sorority letters, because at least for my sorority, every line has their own. So everyone has their own distinct color and pattern for the letters, and you're not supposed to wear someone else's. You can customize your own and whatever, but your line letters are your letters and your family letters. So it could be maybe like Jessica's like letters.
If Jessica's shoes were monogrammed with her letters, that'd be very clear that those are Jessica's.
I know some people in my sorority had a baseball cap. Like some of them had a baseball cap. So the possibilities are endless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're all eating. There's a little comment about like, oh, is that Jessica's? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll ship it to her overseas, whatever. Okay, end scene. And now we're in the next scene, which is Libby is, I think, already decided to rush.
Yes.
But feeling a little uncomfortable, feeling a little nervous, talking to the other people who are rushing, and oh, it's not a big deal. I just like thought maybe I'd try it. Like, we'll just see.
Yeah. Maybe it's something traumatic happened. Not traumatic is not the right word, but maybe Libby went through a breakup and trying to reinvent herself and trying to start a new chapter, start fresh, whether it's a friend breakup or a relationship breakup, parents got divorced, something like that, where she's like, I need something different. And this sorority swoops in.
Yeah, and either way, if it's a friend breakup or a relationship breakup, I think that there's the possibility of a lot of the other friends being mutual friends. So then you need new friends that are just your friends.
Love it. Maybe her ex cheated on her and all of the friends took the ex's side and she lost all of her friends. And like, yeah, let's make these friends real bad.
They suck. So we definitely can't be friends with them anymore. It's better to be friends with cannibals.
Exactly. I know this is a book, but I'm imagining the adaptation as like a 2000s weird horror movie.
So we're going up to rush. I'm going to say that pretty quickly our main character, Libby, makes a couple of friends. Okay, so I know that we said no house, but I feel like the house is important now to what I'm doing. So there's actually a
we have
sorority
a
house now.
We have a house.
It's a house now.
They bought
In
a house.
this market,
Congratulations.
we bought a house. I'm going to say that the pledges all, like, bunk in the rooms. And so Libby and, like, 3 other people are going to be staying in Jessica's room. And so they're going to find some stuff to be like, what's going on with that? Where is she? Also, just to bring back some camp, I think that maybe we need to do a Ouija board at some point, and Jessica's going to try to talk to us through the Ouija board.
The gasp, I just gasped. I love that. I love the concept of, like, they know that something has happened with Jessica. They don't know what, but she is missing, and they, like, try to talk to her through a Ouija board, and she comes through. Like, that's
I was just thinking as, like, a fun thing that the sorority's doing as part of the hazing is that they're like, now we're doing Ouija boards, and Jessica's like, I am in the freezer.
Please help. Please help. I'm next to the Trader Joe's orange chicken, guys. I mean, I do love that, but where my thought process was going, which we obviously can totally do yours, is that I was thinking, it's kind of like the classic when they're like, why would you call the cops? Why don't you just solve it yourselves? Whenever someone's in a movie and someone goes missing, and instead of being like, oh my gosh, we should contact the authorities, we should file a missing persons report, they're like, let's try to talk to her through a Ouija board. Like, the natural next step is to pull out a Ouija board.
Well, if we're going to do it that way, we have to already know or highly suspect that Jessica's dead.
And how would we do that?
Yeah. Are they finding, like, blood splatter somewhere? What are they finding to be like, Jessica's dead?
So, if we're going with the plot that she, like, studied abroad, and, like, this was her whole plan, like, what if we find a textbook that she had just checked out? Like, a textbook that, like, she was supposed to take for a class that she was doing recently. Okay. If we want to go less, like, blood splatter, maybe a letter that she was writing to her parents that something was going wrong and that she
When is this taking place? When is this taking place that we're writing letters, that there's a checkout slip in the library book? Are we?
I've started getting really into DVDs, so maybe that's on me, and I've, like, returning back to physical media. And also because I think the whatever Snow White adaptation you were talking about, I'm imagining this in the 2000s, even though, like, it could be set in, like, 2025. I don't know.
There were cell phones in the 2000s.
It's true, you know, text on her BlackBerry. They find her BlackBerry. Wait,
we could find our BlackBerry. I think that a BlackBerry would be good. Because then it's giving you, like, little alerts of, like, first day of class or, like, econ at 2 p.m. in this building. And they're like, wait, but I thought she was studying abroad. Why is she signed up for econ?
And why is her BlackBerry here?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
if she's...
I think this is good. It, like, fell under the dresser. We're in the 2000s.
Yes. We're in the 2000s.
The late 2010s if you have a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
But we can also have a sidekick. It doesn't have to be a BlackBerry.
We would Just Dance in the living room. Like, there is
the Wii Sports. There's a Wii Fit because it's a sorority.
Yeah. And everyone is like, again, I'm imagining this, like, 2000s, and they're like, it says I'm obese. And, like, when you're like me would, like, be like, oh, you're so fat. And you're like, I'm 9. What are you talking about? So imagine, okay. I'm loving this.
Okay. So also, I think hold on. We got to keep the we, because I think that we're going to have a me of Jessica as, like, other things that are happening. We're going to see Jessica's me at some point. Very important.
I love that you were worried about it being too scary and not camp enough, and now we're talking about Wii's and Blackberries. We've never been more back in our lives. We're ready for this.
Okay, so under the dresser, that's where her Blackberry is. It slid there when they were, like, pulling her out. Whatever. I need you to fill in the middle, but I have the end if we feel comfortable with it.
Perfect.
The end that I have in mind is that the whole investigation has been Libby and her 2 friends who are staying in the room together. They're, like, they're buddies.
Yeah.
I'm going to say one of them, who is not Libby, so one of the two other people, you don't get names yet. One
Not
of the
yet.
two other people makes the decision and confides in her friends and is like,
Perfect.
I think we need to go to the police with this murder and possible cannibalism. I don't know if they know about that yet. But I think that then Libby and other person are going to turn on that girl and be like, no, we're with the sorority. And so they kill her, and then she's the next body in the freezer.
So you think Libby and the friend are going full and into it? They're not suspecting. Ooh, love that.
Well, no.
That.
I think that they are suspecting in the beginning, and as they are like finding out more about the sorority and finding out what happened and finding out that like, well, Jessica left. Jessica betrayed the sorority. She betrayed her family. She betrayed her sisters. And then
love that.
I'm just going to name these two other people. So we've got Libby, we've got Micah, and we've got Jackie.
Perfect.
Libby and Micah are going to kill Jackie because Jackie is going to, just like Yellow Jackets. Spoilers for Yellow Jackets.
We're getting so many like Bunny X, the Amanda Bynes 2000s sorority movie.
Sydney White.
Sydney White. I forgot. We got Sydney White. We got X Yellow Jackets. We're getting some good comps in here. I'm loving it.
So Jackie wants to go to the authorities with what they have learned about Jessica's demise and the sorority being corrupt as a whole. What did I call her? Moxie? I'm changing it to Molly because that's easier. Molly and Libby are gonna go. They're gonna get her. And then I think that they are going to...
They're gonna get her.
They're gonna get her. She's gone. And then they're going to call the, like, you called it, like, the E-suite or something, the executives of the... and maybe they don't know about the cannibalism yet. Okay, so they don't know about the cannibalism yet. They are just like, well, we can't betray our sisters. So they're going to go to the executives, and they are going to be like, don't worry. We know exactly what to do with this body. And then they put it in the freezer, and then they'll say something about, like, needing to make room in the freezer. And then... they're going to have, like, a very meat-heavy dinner.
They're making meat pies. Full Sweeney Todd.
Full Sweeney Todd. And then we never get, like, confirmation of they are eating people, but it's, like, sprinkled throughout. That we, like, understand that that's happening, but we never out and out say cannibalism. So that's the end, is that, like, the body is replaced with a new body. And they finish eating Jessica.
Yes.
Throughout Rush Week. Yes. Okay, so now, how did we get there? We found a blackberry. We know Jessica is missing of some kind. Maybe I'm gonna say things are going bump in the night. There's like squeaks and things are moving. There's a ghost in the house. So they don't know that it's Jessica. They pull out the Ouija board to consult the ghost with what happened to Jessica, not knowing that the ghost is Jessica.
And what if, like, Jessica doesn't outright say that she is Jessica, you know? Mm-hmm. If she's like, something really bad is happening, whatever, and then one of the reveals is that the ghost is Jessica. I don't know how. Maybe it's like Jessica's signature scent, her perfume is like, comes into the room, like,
smells like Jessica in here.
Yeah, they're like, that's well, because if they're in Jessica's room, if Jessica's stuff is already in there, like, maybe they already know the perfume because the perfume has, like, been in the room, like, they're familiar with it, potentially. I don't know, because I feel like I don't know if you've seen Palm Springs, where the movie Palm Springs,
the endless Groundhog Day.
We just rewatched it, but when he, like, realizes, spoilers for Palm Springs, but when he finds out that the husband from the wedding was cheating because he smelled the pillow and the pillow was the distinct hair product, something like, not like that at all, but something like that, where it's like her signature scent, or like something recognizable that it is Jessica. I don't know.
I like that. I like the signature scent. I'm not sure. I'm just not seeing how I would do it. I think that if you can do it, I salute you. As a backup plan, I think that somehow we can be like, give us a sign. Like, who are you? Like, what's going on? And then all of the sorority members who are not from this year, not from this rush, their phones all start ringing from Jessica at the same time. The phone that they have, by the way.
Flip phones.
The BlackBerry that they have.
Yeah, she has a BlackBerry. Everyone else got flip phones and the slide phones.
Yeah. Razor.
Oh yeah, that
was earlier than this.
Some people have old phones. Like, some people have, like, passed down phones from their families.
Yeah.
But like the e-board all have like fancy. We're getting into the politics of their phones. We can't be doing this.
Well, you see, this person has a flip phone, and that signifies
Literally,
their lower rank in the sorority.
the curtains are blue, and there is a meaning. Like she has a flip phone with an antenna, and that signifies something. Yeah, maybe Jessica lies and says that she's like someone from like the sorority's beginnings, you know, like an older. From if we're talking that this sorority has been around since, if we want to do similar to mine, like the 1900s, maybe like Jessica lies. What's up?
I think, by the way, those not watching, I'm raising my hand like I'm in class. I think that...
I was like, you don't have to raise your hand.
Excuse me, I have something to say. I think that actually it's not just Jessica. Like, they've been getting people, so I think we've got a few ghosts. Jessica's just the most recent.
Yes, I love.
Things are going bump in the night.
Yeah, because if they're killing one person per rush, and if they've been around for like 50 years, that's a lot of ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it every year, but like anytime someone betrays the sisterhood, that's when they get got. Okay. So someone who was going to turn the sisterhood in, that's our ending girl. What was her name? Jackie. Someone who left the sisterhood, that's going to be Jessica.
Yeah.
And then some people earlier who like either were going to reveal bad things that they did, were going to reveal like, I don't know, fraud.
Yeah. Well, and like if guys become involved, I'm thinking almost like Mean Girls, where if they like date another sister's ex, God, like it's like I'm thinking there's a lot of ways to betray the sisterhood, betray each other, God, but not enough that it's like, you know, a normal amount of God.
Yeah, I would say that it's a once in the blue moon thing where they would betray the sisterhood. So it's not all the time. Maybe the first one was like going to reveal academic dishonesty or like an affair with a teacher or something. And so in a crime of passion, they get her.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was during some sort of recession. They don't have a lot of food. And they're like, well, we have to eat her. That's the only answer here.
Yeah. I'm like, we're bopping around timelines. I'm like, it's 2008. Like, the housing market has crashed, guys.
I meant an earlier recession of the past.
It is the Great Depression. I can't think of any. I know there's other recessions because I just can't think of any besides the Great Depression and like 2008. So
it can be the Great Depression. That's fine.
She got a long time ago. She's been in the freezer.
No, those are different people. That was like the first one they ate. And so then they were like, well, now we're going to eat them every time we kill them.
Yeah. Well, because I'm also thinking that they're justifying it. Like they don't think they're evil, I think is what's also.
No one ever thinks they're evil.
Well, I feel like sometimes people have ulterior motives. I think they justify it by being like, we only do it. We only kill when it's necessary. Right. They're not like, we're doing this for fun. We're doing this kumbaya. We're hanging out with our girls. Like, it's like, we have to do this when we need to protect the sisters and the sisterhood. Like, my sorority was not sisterhood and whatever, but for the sake of this, like, we need to go real, like, we're a family. We're getting the corporate vibe where everyone's a family here. And
it is an MLM.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Okay, so we ate someone in the beginning. No one knows that except the executives. Yeah. And then we started rushing. We're staying in the girl who was killed's room. Find her BlackBerry. Find out she's missing. Talk to a Ouija board. Find out that she is gone. Perhaps that she's been killed. Yeah. Don't know who we're talking to on the Ouija board. Trying to solve her murder now. We're finding other things in the house. We're finding out craziness. We're learning about the sorority. The sorority is crazy and has been crazy for a long time.
Yeah.
And then as we're learning all these things, I think there are little scenes of really connecting with the other sisters and becoming part of this sorority where you would be willing to kill for it.
Yeah. Yes.
So we need to have those really close moments of helping each other, helping the community,
They do
growing
community
together.
service.
Yeah.
That, like, they kill, but they do community service.
That's right.
They have a Toys for Tot drive. So they believe that they're, like, good for the community. They kill, but it's necessary.
Only sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've gone through all of that. I think that do we find out that we were talking to Jessica, or do we just like find maybe the room she was cut up in, or a room with blood, and realize that Jessica is dead?
Yes.
And then Jackie's like, we gotta tell someone about this. And that's
Yeah.
when Libby and Molly are like,
God.
you don't betray the sisterhood like that.
Yeah.
And then we have that finale with our president, I think, who says, like, oh, don't worry. Like, I think they go up to their sisters and ask,
Yes.
I don't know what happened. I was just trying to protect us. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to hurt her. She was gonna say something and I couldn't let her hurt you like that. I think it's important to be like very like, I was doing it for you, to the president, and the president being like, I got it.
Maybe one of the people, I don't know if exactly the president or one of the e-board people, or the president is maybe her G-big, someone who she's supposed to have direct ties to.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know
So,
what legs and littles are.
Yes, I knew that you would. But if she's the president, she's probably been around long enough that she already has a little. So it's like her like G little is Libby. And so it's like her grandma. So she has to be like, I was protecting you. Like you're my G big. Like you're,
Just imagining this like very dramatic scene after she's literally killed someone, being like, you're my G-big.
You're my G-big, which is really funny because when I pledged, my G-big was the vice president. So I'm like, I'm picturing myself right now.
Liv, did you kill someone?
You're like, did you kill someone? Did someone go missing at Emerson College in 2021?
Is this a self-insert?
Yeah, I had a BlackBerry.
Spoiler, in 2021, I had a BlackBerry.
That would have been kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Not killing someone, having the BlackBerry. Returning
Good
to my roots.
clarification.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I think it's important that she has direct ties to the president because, yeah, it's like, oh, she's nice. But if it's like, if they're drilled in that your family line is your blood, they're closer than your family, they're, whatever, murder for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I feel like, are we done? Do you want to add anything else?
I think that's it. I think I need to write this now.
Feel free. It's yours. I've never finished a writing project in my life. I can talk about it. I can't write anything down. I wrote down sorority in that entire time. That's all I wrote down.
I saw your notebook and I was like, you're taking some notes.
I wrote
sorority. Obsessed with that.
Okay, so we have finished our beautiful story. Not as much work as someone who actually wrote a book, but you're welcome to write this if you so choose. So let's hop back to a couple of publicist questions that I have for you, and then we'll give some book recommendations. So you are a publicist at Scholastic. What are the best and worst parts of your job?
Let me think. So, best part of my job is that I genuinely love the books and the authors that I work with, which is so cheesy to be like, it's the books. But like genuinely, the authors that I work with are some of the kindest people. The first book that I worked on was a children's picture book called To Catch a Ghost, and the author was like, hey, I have a little surprise for you. What's your mailing address? And mailed me a mug with the book cover on it as like a thank you for everything I've done. And it makes working with the book so exciting and fun when I can deeply collaborate with the author and, learn what makes them excited, learn what makes their book special to them and unique to them. Recently, when I worked on the US release for Let's Split Up by Bill Wood, I'm a huge horror person. So that was really special to tap into a lot of the news outlets and people that I really love in the horror sphere. And then I could be like, hey, I have a book for you guys. So that's been really special, is just honestly having books that I'm genuinely excited and passionate about with authors that are equally as excited and passionate about their work. And that's been really awesome. The worst part, this is not super deep, but truthfully, I have such an email job. My job is answering emails all day. And I have such horrific diagnosed ADHD that it's so awful because I recently have just been in a period of everything where like I answer emails at work and then I open my phone and I have to answer messages that are essentially shorter emails. So all I do all day is answer emails and type out responses. So truthfully, that's honestly the worst part is that I'm really excited about the books I'm working on, but then I have to send emails about the books. And I'm like, can I just send you guys audio messages? Like, can I?
What would you say is something that a listener would find surprising about your job?
I think one of the most surprising things is what a publicist actually does is something that's really surprising. And no one really knows exactly what I do. Even people who are in the book space, they know what an editor does. They know what a designer does, and vaguely what marketing people do, people like listeners, book people, they follow publisher Instagram accounts. So they know that there's a marketing team. They know that there's a social media manager, but a publicist, it's like, so what do you do? And every single older relative that I have is like, so you're publishing the books? And I'm like, nope. Oh, you're editing the books? Nope. So really, I think that that's the most surprising part is that I feel like my most concise way of sort of describing it is that publicists are really just the cheerleaders and hype people for the books. And if you've ever watched the Today Show and there's an author that's being interviewed, or if you've ever seen a article from Teen Vogue that lists the 25 best new releases for the fall. It was coordinated by a publicist, and they do so much work behind the scenes. If you've ever gone to an author event, that's like a part of a tour. If you've ever seen an author tour, that was coordinated by a publicist. So it's a lot of stuff that is so obvious, and it's like, oh, of course I've seen an author interview before, but no one ever really knows that that's probably a publicist. Yeah.
What was the thing that you are really proud of landing as a publicist for one of your clients?
At my old job, I did have one of my authors interviewed for Huffington Post, which was really cool. I did recently just have author on CBS Mornings, which was really cool. I am a huge fan of Jim Henson and the Muppets and all of that. And one of our books is written by Sonia Manzano, who is an original Sesame Street cast member. She was on the show from like 1970s until I think maybe late 2010s. And my boss knows how much I love the Muppets. And we were working on the book and she reached out to me and she was like, hey, original Sesame Street cast member, we're trying to get national media for this. Do you want to hop on this? And I was like, absolutely. So I pitched CBS Mornings and was able to get her on CBS Mornings, which was really, really cool to be like, oh my gosh, I did that. And yeah, I think those are probably the coolest that I've had so far.
Those are super cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving away from publishing and publicity-ing. I don't know what the good verb for that is. What is your favorite book of all time?
My favorite book is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and which is really funny. I do enjoy romance, but it's not typically the genre that I gravitate towards the most. And I love One Last Stop because I love that it's a love letter to New York. I love it's a love letter to found family and feeling lost in your 20s and finding yourself, especially in a city like New York. And it's really, really special. I read it when it came out. I read an arc of it and then I have not reread it because I just had such a wonderful experience reading it that I'm almost afraid to, reread it. But maybe this fall, my first New York fall, is when I'll finally tap back into that. But that has to be probably my favorite book of all time.
What was your last 5-star read? Or if you don't rate books, what was the last book that you loved so much that it stuck with you?
Yeah, last 5-star, totally different from One Last Stop, was Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I love James Baldwin, and I actually read it over the summer for the first time. And I'm going to a book club in about 2 weeks for Giovanni's Room. And I'm highly debating rereading it before the book club because I want to read it again and it's really wonderful. And I might try the audiobook just to try a different format. But Giovanni's Room is wonderful and James Baldwin is really wonderful. So that's my last 5-star read.
Hey, that sounds great. What is your most anticipated release coming out either through the end of this year or beginning of next year?
So I have 2. I have one for end of 2025 and then one for 2026. My 2025 is Patti Smith, the author of Just Kids, is coming out with a new memoir called Bread of Angels, which I am pumped for. Just Kids is another one of my favorite books of all time. Maybe I just really love books that take place in New York. So I'm really pumped about Bread of Angels. I believe it comes out in November. And then my one for 2026 is Fat Swim by Emma Copley Eisenberg. She's the author. I believe she's written another book, but I know her from the book Housemates, which is a wonderful lit fic book about 2 roommates that go on a road trip, and it's a really beautiful exploration of being an artist and relationships. So I'm really excited about that one, and that's April 2020.
And the last one, what are you currently reading?
I am currently reading We Love You, Bunny, the new book by Mona Awad, which is the sequel for Bunny. It comes out at the end of this month. I am friends with a bookseller in Boston who, the last time I went to go see her in the shop, she was like, I have a huge stack of ARCs. Do you want to look? And I said, absolutely. So I'm currently reading We Love You, Bunny, and it's a hefty book. It's like almost 500 pages, I think, which is crazy because Bunny's maybe 320. So that's what I'm currently reading. And I'm also listening to an audiobook called Just Lose Weight, which is an audiobook by Aubrey Gordon, who is the love of my life. She is the host of the podcast Maintenance Phase and wrote a book called What We Don't Talk About When We Talk About Fat. And she does a lot of content and general journalist work about fat liberation and weight bias and all of that. So the audiobook is narrated by her, so it's really awesome. I caught up to all the episodes of Maintenance Phase, and I was like, I need Aubrey Gordon in my ears right now. So that's why I'm listening to the audiobook. Those are my 2 currently reads.
I love that. I'm currently reading Kingdom of Exiles by Maxim M. Martineau, who wrote The House of Blight, which was a really, really good book that I read right before I disappeared for 3 months. So no one got to hear me talk about how great it was, but it was really, really good. That was If It Was a Book. If you liked what you heard, feel free to drop us a rating or review telling us what you liked or want to see in future episodes. If you would like to submit a story for a chance to have it rewritten by one of our guests, you can do so by emailing your memory to ifitwasabook@gmail.com. You can follow the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we also have Instagram and TikTok at If It Was a Book. You can follow me, the host, at Wicked Reads on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And then Liv, where can readers and listeners find you?
I am pretty much everywhere as Curly Hair Biblio. Goodreads, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, all of those wonderful places. So that's where you can find me if you want more content about horror and literary fiction and my job as a publicist.
We have new episodes out every Monday. As always, video episodes are available on YouTube, and audio is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening. Bye.